Law should be based on a set of morals. It should be decided by people that understand the world around them and what happens in the world around them. As soon as law and religion become intertwined, reason and logic goes out of the window. The reason I say this is because all the religious books and scriptures in the world, the three main religions at the moment, being Judaism, Islam and Christianity, they all preach different rules, different laws, different punishments. And Leviticus alone from the Bible states that homosexuality is an abomination. As a result of that, people believe that it should be illegal for two men to marry. There is no reason to prevent that. This is only a dusty old tome that says it shouldn't happen, and so people are fixated on that. With that being said, what should be the punishment? It used to be death, it used to be imprisonment. Now it's acceptable to be homosexual, you're just not allowed to marry. 50 years ago, ethnic minorities and whites weren't allowed to marry. You couldn't find blacks and whites, a black man or woman and a white man or woman getting married. And, God forbid, a black man and a white man getting married. But this day and age, you get loads of people from different races that are marrying, and it's perfectly acceptable. So why not for two men? Because the Bible says this, the Quran says that, the Torah says the other. There is no reason to not let two men or two women marry. If they love each other, then that's another thing. If it's a sanctity of marriage, look at the amount of Hollywood marriages that take place. The amount that have lasted less than a week. The amount of marriages that take place to allow immigrants a green card into the country. That happen for financial gain, where people marry just for the money or the security, but love has nothing to do with it. Religion has nothing to do with it. The amount of men and women that get married in registry offices rather than churches that aren't religious. Religion, in my opinion, has nothing to do with a lot of marriages. When you consider that roughly 50% of marriages in America end in divorce, you've got to think to yourself, is it religion such a massive deal when it comes to marriage? The reason why I'm fixated on this is because there was a Jewish couple in the UK. The article is from the Telegraph. It's entitled, "Sharia divorces could be allowed after legal ruling." I admit it does focus on the Islamic version rather than that of the Torah and Judaic religion, but it says here, I think it's due to the fact that a lot of people are alerted to militant and radical Islamists that do commit very horrendous crimes against innocent people. There are also the whole Palestinian conflict with the Israelis, where there's a lot of hassle coming from the Jewish side of things there, but people tend to always fixate on the Islamic versions of war in the world. And I do not want to get the wrong impression here where people will use that as a hook to try to defend another thing. My attitude is second wrong doesn't make the first wrong right. It just means that there are now two wrongs. This article talks about a Jewish situation between a couple who are Jewish, but it then breaches on to say about Sharia divorces being allowed. The reason being is because there are parts of the world where Sharia law is the law, religion is law, and as a result, rape victims are murdered through a court of justice because they have committed premarital sex. That is the law over there, and that is, I think, why they are trying to get a little bit of a scare tactic going. If we allow this, it can branch onto that. Right, that's out of the way now. Alright, the prospect came after a couple had a divorce settlement under Beth Din, or Jewish law, referred to by a high court. I'll include the article in the description, so I won't bother reading from there. I'll basically say it in brief. Basically, what's happened is a couple had a child, then after the second child, the marriage sort of broke apart. They wanted to divorce and split up, as I think it can sometimes be a mature decision. You got married, you made a mistake, you want to break apart in a civil way rather than risk your children being brought up in a broken home. they have gone to the court, and the jurisdiction of marriage and law and all that, that relies on the high courts, crown courts, this country, the legal powers in this country. Yet they have had the case passed on to their rabbi. My attitude is, if they wanted to seek advice from their rabbi on how they go about things, perfectly acceptable. If I was taking someone to court for one reason or the other, there's a good chance I will speak to a lawyer who knows about law more than I do. This rabbi they went to knows more about marriage and the religion that they are part of. So it's understandable that they may want to turn to someone who they believe is an elder with more wisdom and more experience to guide them in the right direction. What I disagree with highly is the fact that it is left in his decision to divorce them, to marry them. All the legal proceedings are reliant on him. Simply put, marriage, I believe, should no longer be a religious ceremony, considering the lack of religion in marriage. There is no sanctity anymore, simply because, as I've said before, there are people that get married for money, people that get married and then divorce and marry again. It's quite stupid when you think about how certain people go about things, and it's terrible that religion is finding its way into law. People will say it's a breakthrough, it's a good thing, finally people are going to have more morals because religion can guide them. No, that's not the case. The holy scriptures of the world state very clearly one thing, one commandment is, thou shalt not kill. If a man is about to blow himself up in the name of his God, then would it be a crime to kill him before he kills plenty of others? You kill him in the name of defending children. He's wanting to kill those children in the name of his God. Some people, part of his religion, will say that he's not doing it. He's been systematically, spiritually mutilated by radical groups and tricked into believing this is the way to go. But that's not the point. In his own mind, he is doing it for his God. That God is the same God as his other people. It's the same God, they just view it in a different way. The same as some people that say, you can't eat pork, that's against religion, it's an abomination. And other pastors and bishops saying, we have fridges these days, we didn't have fridges back then, we can now keep the food fresh, it shouldn't be an abomination anymore. It's taking it too far when law is passed on to religion. As far as I know, religion, it is a choice, and it's a simple choice where you either accept responsibility for your actions or try to find an excuse. At the end of this article, something I think should be brought up is that a get is a Jewish divorce. And I'll quote it here. This is the first occasion a family court has effectively delegated some of its authority to a religious court for arbitration. Mr. Justice Baker also stipulated that the husband had to give his wife a get, the Jewish divorce, or he would not approve the settlement the couple had agreed. Without a get, a Jewish woman is regarded as an aguna, or chained woman, who cannot remarry and becomes a social pariah. The Muslim law governing divorce varies substantially between states and cultures. Men have the right to unilaterally divorce under classical Sharia, again removing all rights from women, which religion tends to do. A marriage can be terminated by the husband in the talaq process or by a wife seeking divorce through khul. Here's an important one for you. A Sunni Muslim divorce is effective when the man tells his wife that he is divorcing her. The woman has no choice. She can be beaten black and blue, she could be treated like filth, she can want a divorce all her life but she doesn't get it. What's stupid and absolutely terrifying is the simple fact that a lot of these marriages aren't even the choice of those taking part in them. They are the parents or organisers or matchmakers that put the couple together and say that they have to marry or else. Marriage should be down to the two people involved. if necessary, be guided by a bit more mature than them. It's the same as if I wanted to get a tattoo across my face. People with a little bit more understanding of how the world works and reason might say it's a bad idea. If I were to get a tattoo over my face anyway, and they'd be like, well, you've just made a stupid decision, but it's yours to live with. If they were to punish me for it, and say, we told you not to get a tattoo, now you're going to be executed, that's going a bit too far. And the moral of this video is, religion and law should never be mixed. If anything needs to be legally sorted, it should be sorted in a court of law, not a religious law.